Coming up on tonight's UAP News Show.
Alien tech or space rock? The real story behind 3I Atlas.
Astronomer Dr. Beatriz Villarroel finds possible alien tech and Cold War links.
Black Triangle UFO debate. Tyson laughs, Kosloski keeps his cool.
And then the UAPDA was filed and UFO hearing set for September.
Hey there, beautiful souls. It's your girl, Allie, and we are back at it again, and super stoked to be back at it again for another episode of UAP Society's weekly UFO News Show. I'm stoked to get started, so without further ado, Justin, say hey.
Greetings, cosmic enthusiasts. It's Justin here. Let's dive right in.
Alrighty, up first, alien tech or space rock? The real story behind 3I Atlas. All right, guys, Avi Loeb, the Harvard astrophysicist known for his bold ideas about extraterrestrial life, has just released a new paper, which is still under peer review, about the mysterious interstellar object called 3I Atlas that just so happens to be headed towards Earth. While Avi suggests it could be alien technology, his words were quickly twisted into a wild clickbait headline claiming it's a hostile alien threat. So we're here to set the record straight, dig into the details, and explore why this conversation is so important. We'll also hear from Representative Anna Paulina Luna, who's pushing NASA to extend the Juno mission to study the strange visitor, learn an awesome new space factoid, and revisit a throwback warning from UFO researcher Jeremy Corbell that may or may not be connected to this current scenario.
Wow. Is 3I Atlas a natural object, an alien probe, or something else entirely? Let's dive in. The first thing we're going to look at is a tweet from the New York Post that says, possible hostile alien threat detected in unknown interstellar object. A shocking new study claims. And when you click that link, it takes you to an article called Rare Interstellar Object the Size of Manhattan Could Be an Alien Probe, Harvard Scientist. That says, Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb suggests in a new paper that the object, only the third interstellar object ever detected, could be an intelligently directed alien craft observing Earth with possible hostile intentions.
All right, it sounds like the New York Post completely twisted Avi Loeb's words just to grab clicks. While I'm all for people talking about 3I Atlas, I'm seriously tired of the clickbait hype and the fear-mongering whenever aliens come up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I felt the need to say that. Okay,
Yep.
Now to cut through the noise and get straight to the source, here's a clip from Dr. Brian Keating's YouTube channel where we can hear what Avi Loeb actually said as he breaks down why 3I Atlas could be alien technology in his own words without the clickbait.
This object is 4.5 times the Earth-Sun separation in terms of distance. The reason is it's very bright for its distance. In fact, if you assume that it's a solid object, like an asteroid, a rock, then it has to be 20 kilometers in diameter. And that's twice as large as the asteroid that killed the non-avian dinosaurs. Just think about it. I calculated the size 20 kilometers. I said, this makes no sense because there are a million objects the size of Oumuamua, tens of meters, for every object that is 20 kilometers in diameter in the main asteroid belt of the solar system. So I said, we haven't discovered a million Oumuamuas before we discovered this one. How come it's so big? It makes no sense. So I wrote this paper. I also said we should have seen a million Oumuamuas-like objects. And my suggestion was, well, maybe it's a comet that is very small, less than a kilometer. Then there wouldn't be a problem with the mass budget. And it spews out a lot of dust and gas. So you see it as a bigger object just because it's a comet. But when I looked at the images, they didn't look like Borisov, the comet that we have seen before. There was no clear cometary tail that surrounds it. The only thing they saw is the object is red. So the reflected sunlight from it obtained reddening. Now, reddening is something you see for Kuiper belt objects in the outer part of the solar system. It's a result of the surfaces of these objects that are icy being bombarded by cosmic rays and ultraviolet radiation from the sun. And you end up with organic molecules forming and objects appearing red. Yep. Where I describe 8 anomalies about 3I Atlas. And if I wanted to summarize these anomalies, my basic message would be, if you are planning an annual vacation, do it before October 29th. Take your vacation before that date. Why? Because this is the time that three-eye atlas will arrive closest to the sun. And guess what? It will arrive closest to the sun when the Earth is on the opposite side of the sun. So why would it do that? One possibility, it doesn't want to be observed. This object is also on retrograde orbit. It moves in the opposite direction to the motion of the Earth around the sun. So the Earth is moving at 30 kilometers per second around the sun. We know that for a while. And then this object would move at 68 kilometers per second in the opposite direction. That means the relative speed would be 98 kilometers per second. No chemical rocket that we launch from Earth can reach that speed. The highest speed that we can reach with chemical rockets with a reasonable amount of fuel, given the rocket equation, which tells you that you need to increase the amount of fuel exponentially to just benefit a little bit in speed. The maximum speed is a third of that 98 kilometers per second, but it's in exactly the same orbital plane to within 5 degrees. The chance of that is 0.2%. That the two angular momentum vectors of the orbital motion of this object and the Earth would be aligned within 5 degrees. It's a very small chance. You are moving so fast they can't reach you, which is the situation we're in right now. We cannot launch a rocket that will reach this object in time, and it could do a maneuver just when we can't see it behind the sun. And then you ask yourself, what's the chance that it will come so close to all the inner planets like Mars, Jupiter, Venus? It turns out that the chance of that happening, it comes really close to all 3 of them, except the Earth, because the Earth is on the opposite side of the sun.
Yeah.
The chance of that is 0.005%. Now, I'm not claiming that it's not a comet. It may well be a comet, and we will know about it once it gets closer to the sun. We will see the cometary tail. We'll be sure it's a natural object. But it's worth thinking about this.
So what do you think about his comment where he said, if you're planning on taking an annual vacation, do it before October 29th? It's pretty ominous. Right? I don't know. It's like, well, why? Is it because Earth won't be here after that date or something? If that's the case, I need to plan a lot more than just a fucking vacation.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's saying that. Yeah. It's refreshing to hear the words, or his words, his actual words, not being twisted. He makes the case that it's a comet, which I agree with him.
Okay.
I don't know. It is a little bit strange, the statistical analysis of it, with the chance that you would have a comet be on the same orbital plane as Earth, along with it coming in at this speed, and it'll be right on the opposite side of the sun, so we won't be able to really see it, all at that same time. The chances of that happening naturally are pretty slim, but that doesn't mean it's impossible.
But there's a lot of things that are occurring that have such a small percentage chance of occurring just by will. So it's when you have one weird thing, okay, that's just a weird thing. But if you have more than one weird thing all in the same event, it's it starts to seem like it's intentional almost. Who knows? But he was just talking about with the stats, Avi said that there's a 0.2% chance that 3I atlases angular momentum vectors would be aligned with Earth as close as 5 degrees. So 0.2, pretty small. And then there's a even smaller statistic that he mentioned, which is that there's a 0.005% chance that it will come close to the inner planets like Mars, Jupiter, and Venus. And it's doing both of those things. And then it's also moving in a retrograde fashion and going around the sun in the opposite direction. And I don't know, it's just also weird. And I thought it was really interesting when Avi said the thing about, it can pull and maneuver when it's behind the sun when we can't see it. And I'm like, whoa, okay.
But that's just pure speculation.
I know this. I know. But it's it's just an interesting thing to ponder that if this thing is intelligently controlled, that it would pull a move in the spot where we can't see it. Just kind of having alien bases on the dark side of the moon, or having alien bases in the oceans, something similar.
Yeah. I really don't like the fear mongering, and the spin that they're taking. A lot of people are taking with 3I Atlas.
Yeah.
I think it only does disclosure a disservice because it's like a lot of people, saying that, oh, it's an alien spaceship, and then when it proves to not be,
they're gonna be like, "Ha ha! I told you so. Don't you feel stupid now?"
and that's one of the big problems that I have with the New York Post. In particular, is Stephen Greenstreet. I mean, I feel like he would be the perfect person to set up that narrative to just make fun of everybody.
Yeah. And it's so funny that you say that, because I think it was Kelly Chase, and I don't want to announce anything, but I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll fix it in editing. But I think it was Kelly Chase that put something on Twitter and said, for all of you people that think 3i Atlas is a spaceship, what would you say in the event that it was proven to be a comet? She just kind of threw it out there, just to say, if this is not what you believe, what would you say if it were the opposite? And I don't know.
I mean, right now, if I had to bet money on it, I would bet money that this is just a natural comet that is buzzing by our solar system.
I'm gonna bring something up.
Okay.
I find a synchronicity that we just watched the Star Trek episode.
Oh, yeah.
That I fell asleep through twice.
Three times. We had to rewatch it 3 times.
I'm bringing this up because there was some kind of comet or something that was flying towards a planet that happened to have an intelligent species on it. And Star Trek Voyager was like, we need to do something about this. And then it turns out it
wasn't Voyager, by the way. The Enterprise.
Look, I get Star Wars and Star Trek mixed up all the time, and I have 0 F's to give about it. It is what it is.
Okay.
So I just mix it up even more?
You did, because that was not Star Wars and Star Trek. Star Trek Voyager was its own separate series. It's still Star Trek, though.
Did I just prove my own point, though, that I mix shit up like this all the time? Okay, let's move past that part and get to the part where I'm trying to say that in the show that we just watched a night ago, after the third time trying to get through it, that they took action to divert this comet away from the planet, and the comet ended up having its own intelligence, and there was a race that was protecting it, and it had a name, and then on the inside of it there was this egg thing with this alien code on it that spoke through math and music. The point is, there was something flying towards a planet, just like we're having with 3i Atlas. That's the whole point I was trying to make with that whole ridiculous thing that I just did on camera.
Okay.
So I talked to Avi yesterday, and I just did the podcast that I released with him actually yesterday was about this. And we talked about the images that the Hubble Space Telescope released looking at it. And there was multiple papers saying that it was acting not similar. And Avi came back with a contrasting paper where it was saying that we have to look at the size and shape of this thing as well, because they were saying they thought it was bigger than what it is, but obviously saying it's smaller and more rare, which is really interesting. So whatever it may be, if it's an alien artifact, if it's an alien spaceship, if it's something of an icy comet that we've never seen act this way, it's still all really interesting because it's something that we've never seen before. And it's something from deep space that's coming from an unknown origin. We have no idea into our solar system. So right there on its own, except for it being ET, is super fascinating and fun. I think we should just be excited about that, because we're wow, we get to learn more information. We get to learn about new things from deep objects from deep space that one's maybe ever seen before.
I know.
So, right. Which is super cool. So for me, that's really exciting. And then, the tip of the iceberg then would be obviously if it is some form of extraterrestrial, right, intelligence. And we won't know that until they say the 29th or the 30th of October. If it decides to make this pivot behind the sun and comes directly at us, then we know that it has some form of intelligently piloted, and it's on its own form of trajectory. That's an intelligent trajectory, which is really cool. So I asked Avi Loeb at that point in time, I said, let's just say that is the case. How long do we have until this thing gets to Earth? I was like, do we have minutes? Do we have days? Do we have hours? And he said to me, yeah, we have months. And so that made sense, where I was like, okay, so we've got months. The reason why we talk about that is for the fact that if this is something that an unknown origin, this is our test pilot, because more than likely it's an icy comet, let's just say. Okay. But it's our test pilot right now to be able to say, hey, if we've got months to figure out how to communicate with this thing and figure out what it is before it hits Earth, or we can actually see it on the planets we're standing on the planet, that means that we need to be able to have a proper communications plan. And I don't think we have that in place. And if we do, well, we'll learn what it is. But I don't think we will. And that's going to be a very interesting time for humanity. But this is our trial period, this is our trial period. So, and maybe this isn't the time it's going to happen, but at some point it could. Doesn't mean, potentially.
Yeah.
And if there is some form of civilization that is way more technologically advanced than we are, knows how to travel the cosmos, which is more likely statistically possible, to be honest, that there could be, because the universe has been around for so long and we've been around so long that one day we will intersect with something. And so maybe that is that visitor, and maybe it's an icy comet, but it is a good test run. That's for sure.
I guess we'll find out in a few months, but I do think that you're right. This could be like the litmus test of what would happen if there really was some sort of alien spacecraft that was headed straight for us. Like, what would that ultimately mean? How would we behave? How would we react? Like, what effects would that have in society? Would the world just burst into combustible flames like everybody thinks it's going to? Or would it just be a really cool learning experience where we not only learn about like new technology and new living beings, but like even learn about ourselves through the history of where we came from?
All right, so in total support of Avi Loeb, Representative Anna Paulina Luna took to Twitter saying this: I'm urging NASA to extend the Juno mission to study interstellar object 3I Atlas. Thank you, Avi Loeb, for your continued dedication to exploring our universe. We must seize this opportunity for groundbreaking discovery. And the attached document is the letter she personally wrote to Administrator Duffy at NASA.
Seize the moment, indeed, Luna. I highly recommend checking out the letter that she wrote. It's very forward-thinking and it's very well written. So yeah, if you want to check that out, it is in the video description box below, and I will have it up on the screen for you as I am speaking, but feel free to pause so that you can read it, because I'm not doing all that.
Yeah. All right, and to nerd out even harder, Latest in Space tweeted this. News. Scientists now believe the newly discovered interstellar object 3I Atlas contains water older than Earth itself. Estimates put it at 7 billion years old. So what implications does that have?
I mean, wow. I don't know. I'm here for all of this like newly discovered stuff that can come out of this. I mean, like we said in the beginning of the story, like we don't agree with how the New York Post like clickbait the shit out of this whole situation. Yeah. But if it's going to get people talking about it and ultimately discovering stuff like this, I'm calling it a win.
Yeah, me too. And I mean, it's very interesting that their estimates are 7 billion years old of the water. I mean, how did they come to that conclusion is what I want to find out. I haven't read that paper yet, but I think I'm going to.
Okay.
Sometime in the future. But yeah, I mean, it's very interesting to think about, because the Earth is estimated to be 4.5 billion years old. And to think that, well, when I think of that, it makes me wonder and think of how many other civilizations there probably have already been and are no longer. I mean, we've only been on this Earth for, a very, very short amount of time in the grand scheme of things. And, it's the universe is much older than I think we think.
Well, we've spoken on this show before about how I think that we are the displaced Martians from Mars with whatever catastrophe took place over there. And I feel like we're the beings or the descendants of the beings that fled from that catastrophe and called Earth home. And hi, we're here. Yeah. Ta-da!
It's a very interesting thought experiment.
Yes.
Indeed. Obviously, we don't know. I don't know that we can ever know for sure. But
and we don't know what this object is either. And we're not trying to claim it is one thing or another. We're just bringing you all the different points that have been brought up about it so far. Well, not all, but like the ones we're talking about, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. And to close out this story, we're going to take a look back at a clip that came out in the beginning of the year, like I think it was January, from the Tubi special called TMZ Presents UFO Revolution, where Jeremy Corbell was giving us a warning about a situation that could or could not, again, we're not saying either way, be related to this 3I Atlas event. So take a listen and then you decide.
So UFOs are real, and they've been here a long time, and that's the truth. but the lie is coming. All indications, like all of them, is that that lie is going to be that there is a craft slowly making its way to us here on Earth. And that is the lie they're going to want you to believe. It's nuanced, how they explain that, the nature of that threat. But that 100% is the lie you are going to be told. You even got a date. People have been whispering a date for a long time now. I know where that lie comes from. I know specifically what document from the 70s initiated the idea of that lie. A classified document. That is the lie you will be told. You're going to be told that there is a craft on its way to Earth. That's the lie. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I sent you 2 texts today with a year. Not from me. Nope. I'm not going to propagate that lie. Not going to be part of it. Not going to say it to the camera. Everybody knows. Just start paying attention. And they'll change the date, especially if they see this. Things will change. Because maybe I'm trustworthy. Maybe I'm worthy of your trust. Maybe I've told you the truth the whole way through it. Now you can verify it. If that's the case, then I'm fucking dangerous. You've been told the truth about UFOs for a long time now. It's been pretty orchestrated. It's been pretty clear. And it's using people that are telling the truth and want to tell the truth. Ultimately, they want you to know something. They want you to know UFOs are real. Thank God we're finally there. We're all there now. They want you to know the truth. But why they want you to know that truth now? I hope I'm wrong, but it's terrifying. Think about it. Maybe it's good to get ahead of it. Call it out now before they do it. I'll be called crazy. That's okay.
All right, so when I hear Jeremy Corbell say that, what he just said, it makes me think of what is he ultimately getting at? What is the big secret, or what is behind this lie that they are supposedly trying to disseminate?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know. And what's funny is that, like, I think it's in the last story that we're going to show you guys tonight, that kind of comes up again. And I found it interesting because when it came up in the last story that I put together, I was like, oh, look at this synchronicity tied into the first story. Okay.
Yeah. But look who twisted the words of Avi Loeb to begin with. The New York Post.
Okay.
And it's come to light that Stephen Greenstreet was a paid government disinfo agent, you could say. So if Stephen Greenstreet was really paid by the government, which he come out and said he was, if the government was trying to disseminate a lie, a good way to go would be through the New York Post.
Why am I getting deja vu vibes from the Wall Street Journal articles that came out like recently? Well, not like recently, but like recently enough. So I just feel like people
Exactly.
take information and twist it and do things with it and like.
But why twist it that way? Why spin it that way? For clickbait? Or is there a
fear
deeper
mongering?
meaning?
I mean, I don't know.
That's a great question.
That is a great question. And I find it also important to talk about the fact that in the video, Jeremy Corbell said without saying, because they showed the little text message scene with 2027. And then I'm like, okay, but it's only 2025. So then like maybe these two things are like not related. Maybe they could be related. I don't know. But then he's followed up and said, well, now that I'm saying this, maybe they'll change the date. So maybe that's why it's going to happen in 2025 instead of 2027, or maybe these two things have absolutely nothing to do with each other and I'm just conflating really bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys tell me. So, what do you think 3I Atlas really is? A natural phenomenon or alien technology or something else? In your opinion, what are the chances that the Juno mission will actually get extended to study this interstellar object? And do you think Jeremy Corbell's warning relates to 3I Atlas, or are they two totally different things? Sound off in the comment section below and let us know.
Up next, astronomer Dr. Beatriz Villarroel finds possible alien tech and Cold War links. Dr. Beatriz Villarroel, a Nordic Institute for Theoretical Physics astronomer, just posted a new peer-review stage paper that could redefine UFO research forever. Her study digs deep into sky survey plates from 1949 to 1957, before Sputnik's launch, and uncovered a fascinating pattern. Star-like sky anomalies, which might be alien technosignatures, showed up 45% more often during nuclear test periods.
Another thing we've spoken about on the show. Keep going.
Yeah. Even more intriguing, on days when UAP sightings and nuclear tests overlapped, those anomalies spiked nearly 3 times higher. This possible link between Cold War nuclear activity and unexplained sky phenomena echoes decades of witness reports and insider claims about UFOs monitoring nuclear sites. Could these unknown orbiting objects be drawn to nuclear energy? If confirmed, this would be a monumental leap forward in proving alien technology exists.
All right, to kick things off, a tweet from UAP Reporting Center says, a new preprint from Dr. Beatriz Villarroel and Stefan Bruhl is turning heads. They found a potential link between old-school star-like sky anomalies, UAP sightings, and Cold War nuclear tests. Digging into sky survey plates from 1949 to 1957, before Sputnik, they noticed something strange. These transients were 45% more likely to show up during nuclear test windows. The number jumps even higher, nearly 3% on days when both UAP reports and tests occurred. Are we looking at orbiting unknowns drawn to nuclear activity? If true, it echoes exactly what witnesses and insiders have been saying for years. Link below, dive in. And if you would like to check that paper out in its entirety yourself, the link can be found in the video description box below, along with all of the other sources that are featured in the show in the order that they appear. You're welcome. So make sure to check that out.
Up next, we've got an insightful News Nation clip featuring Dr. Beatriz Villarroel in conversation with investigative journalist Ross Coulthart. They dive into her groundbreaking findings, linking mysterious star-like sky anomalies to Cold War nuclear tests, exploring what this could mean for the existence of alien technology and the broader UAP phenomena. Let's hear how these discoveries might rewrite what we thought we knew about UFOs and their possible connection to nuclear activity.
Today, I have my friend and colleague, Dr. Beatriz Villarroel, who is a researcher in astronomy at the Nordic Institute for Theoretical Physics, Nordita in Stockholm. Now, in a new paper entitled, attractively, Aligned Multiple Transient Events in the First Palomar Sky Survey. You could make it sound more sexy and exciting, Beatriz. Beatriz and her team have analysed nearly 300,000 transient events from pre-satellite sky surveys. Beatriz, what does it all mean? Welcome to Reality Check. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
It's super fun to be here. Thank you a lot for inviting me. It's a great honor, and I'm super excited to talk about the results as well, even if I'm super scared to do it. But I still think it's important that I present what we have seen and what we have found.
What have you found?
We have found something super interesting. We have a paper now together. So it's first author is Stefan Bruhl at Vanderbilt University. And he has used 100,000 of these transients. They are not visually vetted. And he has checked if whether they correlate with nuclear tests and with nuclear bomb tests and with UFO events. And yes, he surprisingly finds correlation between my transients, this from before Sputnik, and the nuclear bomb tests and the UFO sightings.
What's the statistical probability that there is that correlation with?
I mean, it's very, very unlikely. I think it's what we would state as like 3 sigma events.
Oh, wow.
If I remember correctly, I have to double check the paper, but
sure, that's a very high degree of probability, though.
It's a very low probability that it's gonna happen by chance. So these are real correlations. Of course, you cannot say if there's a causation there or not, but these are real, really unlikely things to happen by chance. But we still see these correlations. That's one of the things. But the equally interesting thing that now that is in the other preprint is that we have been seeing like multiple of these events, and I think I talked about the previous time that we see some of them, they're aligned along a narrow band or along a line. They have extremely like statistically unlikely alignments. Let's say one of them has a probability of 1 in 10,000 to be aligned along this band. And it looks like it's kind of could be caused by solar reflection on an artificial material, something very flat and something extremely reflective. And or that it's a formation is one of these two things that one can play with, two thoughts. And even more interestingly, what we didn't know when we found this candidate and when we posted it on archive the first time was that this date when it happened was on the 27th of July 1952, which is one of the most famous UFO mass sightings. And that's how, for example, Steve came up with the idea of let's check this. If it's true that these transients correlate with UFO events, we will see this correlation, and he finds it. He sees it in the data.
I'm just going to read from page 17 of your document. And it was where I really just went, oh my goodness, this is so huge. The origin of the transients remains unknown. One plausible explanation is that they are caused by brief light emissions from artificial objects in orbit, or by objects with anomalous movements in Earth's atmosphere. Emissions so brief that they appear as point sources rather than streaks, despite the telescope tracking the stars. Alternatively, they could arise from solar reflections off flat, highly reflective surfaces at geosynchronous altitudes. I mean, inside that fairly dense prose is an awesome probability. The possibility or probability that there were artificial technological objects in geosynchronous orbit at a period in human history when we weren't in orbit, that someone else was there.
We are probably not alone.
Is that your strong view as you get more and more into this research?
I guess I would rather say we are never alone.
When you were talking, you made me think about, are you familiar with Dr. Beatriz Villarroel's new paper that she just wrote about the transients and how she's like filling in the Menzel gap with the things from the Palomar Observatory? Are you like familiar?
I have, yeah. I haven't read. I've been hearing about it. I've interviewed Beatriz. I do know her personally.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she's so lovely, and I love the work that she's doing.
Same.
But I haven't, and I've been meaning to talk to her myself about this and reach out. But
Okay.
there is, I have heard about the work that she's doing, looking at finding that there's multiple artifacts, alien artifacts potentially that have been in the skies.
Yeah, before humans were. So
In
it's like,
space, yes.
what does that ultimately tell us, right? So it's like, I'm wondering, what's the relationship between like ancient civilizations and like possible extraterrestrial visitors? Because it's like, if we have like literal proof now that there were things up in the sky that weren't us, couldn't have been us, we weren't up there yet, obviously it's somebody else. So like, who is that? You know, what's going on? Like,
The question is what it could be, right? If we're
Yeah.
not, and I don't know her paper and I haven't read this, but I'm imagining it's not comets, it's not things that we'd be able to identify, right? Because those
Right.
would be put into a different category because we would know what they look like even better now when we would then. The question is what was happening during that time, what was coming into our, into our solar system, right?
Yeah.
So
and they seem to be popping up a lot. And I forgive me for cutting you off if I did. But she was making a huge correlation between the sightings of these things and how we were testing nuclear things at the time. So it's like there's also that what's the deal with aliens and nukes connection? Like I'm always trying to explore that too.
You're right. And I think so many of us are, and
Yeah.
really understanding, I think the basic premise of it is that it's like my dad would always say this to me. It's like, the ants learned how to use fire and, we gave them matches, or they had matches and they learned how to use fire. Right. So I think
Nice.
the curiosity of what we're doing and hopefully what we're doing to ourselves is observing. I will take a look at her work though, because it's not I think this is a third person that has mentioned it to me in this past week.
Okay.
So I know I'm like, I will.
That's
Once
like
I get there.
spirit telling you, girl, you need to look into this. Yeah,
For sure.
you definitely should. Powerful stuff, right? Dr. Villarroel's research adds a whole new layer to the UFO mystery, connecting historical data with modern sites in a way that demands our attention. I am so here for what Dr. Beatriz Villarroel is doing. I feel like she is doing such important information, because I don't know if everybody out in the audience knows about the whole Dr. Menzel thing, that when he came over and took over the astronomy department, he like literally
destroyed plates.
He took years worth of plates that had already been logged and destroyed them. And then he put like a block on like a certain period of time from when he started till I guess when he left. I don't know all the details about it, but basically, like, not only did he destroy old data, he kept new data from being recorded. So they have what's called the Menzel gap from this whole time period of stuff that was either destroyed or not able to be recorded. And now what Beatrice is doing, she went over to a different observatory, studied their plates, and now is able to fill in the Menzel gap, which I think is freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, I think her research is one of the most important studies that's being done in this field, to date.
Okay.
If this proves to be true, if it goes through peer review and they end up being correct, this is like earth shattering. This is so important.
It is. It is, because we weren't up there to be doing it ourselves, so you can't blame us.
Right, exactly. I mean, this could absolutely prove that there is, or was, I think it's probably still going on, but this could absolutely prove that there's objects in orbit, around our planet prior to us putting satellites into space. Now, okay, so if it does end up being true, the question then becomes, okay, well, who put it there, right? Or, is it an advanced or alien, technology from somewhere else? Or could it have been put there from humans, let's say 20,000 years ago? No, like way in the past.
Okay. The ones that rose to civilization level and then got taken out.
I mean, the planet is always changing. Evidence and data is always getting lost to the sands of change, you could say, right, over time.
That's a good way of putting it.
Right. So could there have been a previous unknown civilization of humans that reached the same technological level that we are at, and we've just lost all the data, but one of their probes is still in orbit, right? Or a lot of them. Or could it be actually what she's thinks it is, or is claiming that it is, and fleets of UFOs visiting the planet?
There's so many potentials, and like each one you explore is just as, if not more interesting than the last, and the implications of all of them are like wild and humongous. The other thing that I find really interesting about this whole situation is that this is proving that during nuclear tests, there's UAPs present. And it's also really interesting to think about how we're able to take old data like this, these old plates that have been sitting around like collecting dust and mold and whatever else all these years, can now be looked at with fresh human eyes, with the assistance of AI, who can like take all this data and like make sense out of it a lot quicker than some human brains could. Right. So it's like the fact that we're looking at old data with a new way of mining and making sense of this data. It's just like, I feel like there's a lot of really cool things that can come out of this stuff. So shout out to Avi Loeb, who wrote his paper. Shout out to Dr. Beatriz Villarroel, who wrote her paper, and all these cool things that are coming out of what these guys are doing. I mean, seriously, this is really, really exciting.
Yeah.
This is not clickbait at all. This is human history. This is Earth history. Like this is
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think this is the most important study that's being done in the field to date.
Okay.
I really do. I think this has the potential to really prove that there's something out there.
Well, I hope that they
and
keep
it's
doing
here.
these studies. I hope that this stuff is replicated by other scientists. I hope that they continue to find more plates that fill in the Menzel gap, because F that dude for what he did. I mean,
Right.
this one dude made such a huge decision that affects essentially what all human beings on Earth deserve to know. Like, F that dude.
Right. Exactly.
Anyways, okay. So what does this Cold War connection mean for UFO and UAP research? Could nuclear activity really attract alien or unknown technology? And how should scientists and governments respond to this possible link? Let's talk about it. Drop your thoughts below and let us know.
All right, so next on the docket, Black Triangle UFO debate. Tyson laughs, Kosloski keeps his cool.
All right, guys, the UFO debate just got a fresh dose of drama, and this time it's got a mix of science, sarcasm, and a whole lot of jokes. During a recent conversation, AARO's new director, Dr. John Kosloski, laid out a measured, fact-based explanation of credible military reports on mysterious Black Triangle UFOs, the kind of sightings that have kept pilots and intelligence officers scratching their heads for decades. And hosting this conversation on his podcast called Star Talk was Neil deGrasse Tyson, one of the most famous science communicators on the planet, who decided this was the perfect time to crack jokes and poke fun at the entire UFO topic again. But Kosloski, honestly, he didn't flinch. He stayed cool, he stuck to the evidence, and he kept the focus on what matters, the data, the 2% of UAP reports that cannot be explained. Weighing in is respected scientist and UAP advocate Gary Nolan, and he's calling out exactly why Tyson's approach might be more than just harmless comedy. Is Tyson simply using humor to keep things light, or is this part of a bigger pattern where serious UFO research gets turned into a punchline before the public even hears the facts? Let's dig in.
A tweet from Sentinel News says, breaking news, AARO's director, Dr. Kosloski, there are a few triangles that have been seen by local law enforcement. Let's take a listen to a clip from Star Talk to hear this for ourselves.
As an example of a couple of those cases that merit further analysis that are helping us refine our hypotheses, there are a few triangles that have been seen by local law enforcement.
These are glowing triangles in the sky.
In this case, very black triangle, triangular prism. So it looks like a pie slice, hovering about the size of a Prius, about 40 to 60 meters away. So as the officer was driving up to investigate underneath a glowing orb, which I'll get to those in a second.
I am so afraid right now. Are we? I want a bunker. Can I get a bunker for Christmas?
I'm worried enough about the damn triangle. No, he's saying it's below orbs. Okay. All right. Now I'm scared. Okay, go.
He slammed on his brakes, and this thing the size of a Prius, blacker than black, reared up 45 degrees and then shot up into the sky faster than anything he'd ever seen. Mm-hmm. And as it was leaving his sight, it shot out red and blue fireworks, flares, so bright it lit up the inside of his vehicle. He didn't see any propulsion, no wind, didn't hear anything over the sound of his own vehicle.
And you have more than one of these sightings?
We have a few others, one from local law enforcement, some from the...
He was not able to get a picture.
No, I thought...
No dash cam, unfortunately.
How unfortunate.
Yes.
Okay,
That's our luck.
they've got chest cams.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but...
You got to give all of law enforcement UAP cams.
Right.
So we're working
Very
on
disappointed
giving
here.
Really? Yeah.
Wow, I am getting
You're on it. Yeah.
You on a roll.
We got to equip folks. You're absolutely
Well,
right.
I am so disappointed here.
Yeah. So there have been cases, triangles. There have been cases of large orbs seen hovering a few
Why
hundred
didn't
feet.
the officer turn on their forward dash cam?
In this case, he slammed on his brakes. It happened almost instantaneously, and he was terrified. He didn't know what was happening.
He knew enough to notice it and respond by putting on his brakes.
Couldn't just get the pull over, please. You couldn't do that. You can't do that. I throw a gum wrapper out and I get that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying he had enough time to think about it, put on his brakes. If I see a triangle prism, I'm photographing it.
I know, but it's out of fear, maybe. Like people are skeptical because they don't want to confront something they don't understand.
In this case, I don't think he was skeptical. He was terrified for his life. And so he was just getting back to a safe position. That's what that was.
Did he go in reverse?
He did. 100 miles an hour backwards, while on the phone with his sergeant the whole time.
On the phone, going backwards.
Yeah.
He
was
can't
terrified.
Stop and take a picture?
I don't think that's what your
Give me this
training
guy.
tells you.
Give me this guy's name and badge number.
You're gonna get,
I want his badge number right now.
I'm not sure that'll go
He's
well
out.
for you.
Wait, there was a floating orb thing. Glowing floating orbs.
In that same region of the country, a couple law enforcement officers had seen glowing orbs a few hundred feet above the ground, a few miles away, in one of these instances,
Wait. If it's a few miles away, how do they know it was a few hundred feet above the
he
ground?
was estimating based on height above trees.
This is
and
4
power
inches
lines.
above Marty's deli.
Yes.
That's what this sounds like.
That's exactly right.
Okay? All right.
That's exactly right.
All right, talk about cringy. That was just ridiculous. You know, it was very disheartening to hear him start laughing hysterically when he brought up the fact that that police officer saw a glowing orb. You know, I mean, it's just really hard for me to sit here and watch this, especially from somebody that I looked up to so much. You know, growing
This
up.
is really hard for you.
You know, I mean, I've even met the man, you know, in person before, you know, and shook his hand. And yeah, I mean, I went to.
What year was that?
It was 6 years ago. Well, I've seen him twice in person, you know, went to a couple of his talks. So if you don't know, Neil deGrasse Tyson, he tours the country giving talks, and it's he has like 5 different discussions that he can pick from. Okay. You know, and I've been to a couple of them, you know. Okay.
Was this before or after 2017? What year did you say?
This was before 2017. So, okay. Yeah, this was before the pandemic. So yeah, that was. Let's see, that was probably 7 years ago now. 8 years ago. Okay. Not 5. Okay. Apparently, I can't count.
Mathing is hard when you're an adult, man.
It is, man. Anyway, yeah, you know, Neil deGrasse Tyson was, you know, like the science figure for me growing up. And, you know, I mean, he was on TV shows and he hosted Cosmos. You know, I mean, they're really good shows. They really are.
I find this funny because Neil deGrasse Tyson has, like, honestly never really even been on my radar until, like, recently. Yeah. Now, who my homie is Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yeah.
Bill Nye the Science Guy is what's up. Bill. Plus, I'm a science teacher, so, like, I played that for my students all the time.
Even Bill Nye ridicules this topic.
Oh, so I relate to that hurt because it's like, here's this science figure that you're like, yeah, he's the guy that like represents the science stuff. And then all of a sudden they come out and like take a big steaming dump on UFO topic. It's like,
you know, and, I mean, man, it's I feel so conflicted because it's like, on one hand, you know, everything that I learned from him growing up stuck with me.
I mean, you could still keep what he taught you just because his opinion about something doesn't change the fact that like he taught you some fact. But it's the opinion that's the problem.
Right. It's
really the ridicule, the nature of it.
Right. It's the ridicule and it's the closed-mindedness. Yeah. You know, I mean, if you're a true scientist, you want to explore and you want to study new things to possibly learn something new. Yeah. You know, you keep your mind open to what the data shows you.
Right.
Right. And, you know, I feel like his mind is already made up and he is ridiculing and stigmatizing the topic to the point to where people don't want to come forward.
Which is a disservice to the whole entire thing.
Right. And like I think Dr. Nolan has said before, you know, it's rude at best.
Well, you're jumping the gun just a tiny bit, but that's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's like on one hand, you know, I've always grown up, you know, really liking Dr. Tyson, and on this more recent other hand, you know, it's like I can't stand the way that he's treating this topic. You know,
and you know what?
I mean, look, I even have his book. You know,
is this signed?
Well, one of the books. No, I don't think this one is.
This one's not. Oh, that would have been cool if this one was.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a very.
It's okay. It's okay.
No,
it's okay.
You know, why can't Neil? Dr. Tyson, why can't you just like be open to this? You know, please come on.
Well, I mean, we're not the only ones who have had thoughts about this little science versus sarcasm showdown that took place on the Star Talk show. Our friend Pavel over at Psychoactivo podcast reported on this story with the quickness, and he's also got thoughts that we feel like you guys should hear if you haven't already. So take a listen to this.
He had enough time to think about it, put on his brakes. If I see a triangle prism, I'm photographing it.
I know, but it's not a.
I don't think you would, Neil, honestly, because the wide majority of the cases that are reported like that happen instantly. You don't get a chance really to record anything. When you get your phone out, that thing is gone. And also, I would want to see the type of shock you would get into if you saw one of those things at close range. So please don't say that you would have photographed it instantly, and you wouldn't have done jack shit, bro, because everybody gets really startled when they see something they don't understand. And I would bet some money that you would be just like that. But yeah, it's your talk show. I get it. But man, this is so disappointing. Not surprising, but disappointing. They make it look so ridiculous. And it's not like that. Kudos to Dr. Kosloski for keeping his composure, because man, this was really a clown show from Neil and his psychic. So there you have it, folks. And this is what we are still having to deal with from the mainstream scientific establishment. And just to keep it really clear, Neil deGrasse Tyson, I don't know if he should be considered a full-on scientist, because he's not running any investigations. He's not running any experiments. He's a science communicator, a really great one. That's why he has so much clout. But I don't think he is in a position to, for example, get in the same room with people like Dr. Gary Nolan, who has a lot of patents. He's done a lot for cancer research. And right now, he's one of the leading voices in this. There are a couple other. He wouldn't have anything to offer inside a room with somebody like Dr. Kevin Knuth, for example. That's another one. Or Dr. Beatriz Villarroel. That's another one. They actually run experiments and they try to change the status quo through their experiments and through their discoveries, because that's what science is all about. Trying to explain stuff that hasn't been explained to this day through science. Not sitting inside of your cubicle or your set and just acting with hubris whenever something that you don't understand falls on your lap.
There you have it. Straight talk, straight from Pavel. No theatrics, no mockery, just clear thinking. Wouldn't it be refreshing if science communicators tried that approach?
It would be,
Just saying.
Right.
But yeah, so like the way Neil was laughing at the whole subject, and it sounds like I don't know what the setup of how he records his podcast, but it sounded like they were all three in the same room.
Yeah, they most likely were.
Okay, because I was going to say, if not, it sounded like Neil deGrasse Tyson and his co-host or his psychic, whoever that other person was, like maybe have been in the same room, and then Kosloski might have been like on the phone or on Zoom or something. Or either way, the point that I'm trying to make is that like, I wonder if that third person, the psychic or the co-host, was like making some kind of crazy faces or like being very expressive, because when I heard Neil deGrasse Tyson laugh that hard, I'm like, is he laughing that hard at what Kosloski just said, or is he laughing at what this other person in the room may have, like the way that they reacted to what he's, you know what I'm saying? So like, I'm wondering if he's like reacting in a laughing way to straight up Kosloski or to both the other person in the room. You know what I mean? Like I was trying to like, I guess in my head, I was trying to like give
him an excuse or
give him a little bit of a benefit of the doubt that maybe something really funny just happened to take place. But he continued to laugh throughout the whole entire thing. So it's like, I can't even really stand on that hill for too long before it crumbles beneath my feet.
Yeah,
It is what it is. Neil, do better. Let's keep going. This doesn't end here. This doesn't end here.
Speaking of scientists who actually take the topic seriously, let's rewind to a conversation from a year ago on the Thought Conversations podcast. Gary Nolan didn't hold back then, and what he said still hits just as hard in 2025.
Facts.
It's imagining technologies that we can't even imagine how to make. So I'd rather not go there. I'm perfectly fine if it's true, but I just don't know how to get there. And so, so that in those circumstances, I'd be more likely to credit Neil deGrasse Tyson with saying, well, come on, where I dislike what people like him do is where they diminish the possibility through ridicule, because that's not science. I think what that does is it does a disservice to people who come forward with stories, because they have a double trauma. They have the trauma of having seen something they really don't understand and doesn't fit with their worldview. And then they have the trauma of everybody making fun of them and their family, not believing them. right? And so that's just, at best, it's rude. It's just rude. It's coarse. It's inappropriate. It's wrong. It's arrogant and conceited. So Neil, cut this shit out. Just stop it. It's wrong. You shouldn't do it. You wouldn't want anybody making fun of your ideas like I do on a regular basis these days, but that's just quid pro quo, right? It's like you don't want somebody doing that to you, so don't do it to other people, especially people who are not as conversant in the sciences as you are. I am. Avi is. Both of us are far more accomplished than the likes of him. He's a TV personality. Stop believing people like that. Stop putting them on the TV shows just because they're bloviating, nonsense spewers. Sorry. You have to categorize this for people so that they understand that a person like that is not a scientist. They're just not. They're a TV personality. And people will make the argument that you need someone like that out there. No, I don't need a bully, right? I need an intelligent conversant on the other side. I'm happy to have a debate, but I want a debate not based on somebody saying, well, if you got taken aboard a craft, why didn't you bring back an alien ashtray? Well, because maybe the aliens have figured out that smoking is not a good idea, Neil. I mean, it's just like, that's just such a stupid thing to say. And he said it multiple times. Yeah. And limiting ideas limits creativity and limits possibility. And so it's always the data off the curve that leads to discovery. I mean, I can't imagine a Nobel Prize that didn't get there because it was obvious. Right? I mean, it wasn't obvious, right? It got there because somebody had the strength of will to realize that they were right and was willing to spend the time creating. You don't get Nobel Prizes by learning how to stop stuff, by learning how to stop ideas. And so if you're in the business of keeping everything the same, then you try to stop stuff. You try to stop ideas. If you're in the business of evolving, you're constantly creating new ideas. And I'm in the business of evolving.
All right, see, that's what measured, informed commentary sounds like. Gary Nolan doesn't need punchlines. He's got facts and the confidence to let them speak for themselves.
My favorite thing that I think Gary Nolan ever said is what I don't know like the exact words, so if I butcher it, forgive me. Okay. It happens, but he basically said like you don't have to wait for daddy government to tell you that UFOs are real or something.
Oh, right.
Just the whole daddy government thing sent me, dude. I was like, right. Oh my god, this guy. Right. That's so funny.
Well, that insinuates that Neil is paid off by the government to say what the government wants him to communicate.
I'm not putting words in Gary's mouth. I'm just repeating the whole day.
Which entirely could be possible. Right.
I mean, you know what? At this point, I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean,
politicians take payoffs. Oops, did I say that out loud?
Yeah, it goes back to the fact that if Neil is a true scientist, which I grew up with him always being a true scientist.
But I love how you started that statement with "if Neil is a true scientist." Go ahead.
Well, because I have doubts now. I do. I legitimately have doubts now.
Just point it out how you worded that, because the if at the beginning negated what came after it.
I mean, what if he is being paid off by the CIA or whatever governmental agency or the White House? I don't know.
He does have an audience
to ridicule
that takes
this
him
topic
seriously. So if he is paid to ridicule this topic, then certain audiences are going to follow suit to that.
Right.
And it's really sad and unfortunate.
Right. I don't know.
All right. And listening to Gary, you just can't help but think this isn't a new problem. In fact, we've been here before. That conversation literally happened a year ago.
Right.
But let's also jump back to a year ago from one of our earlier shows where we've dissected Neil's exact same playbook. The only difference now, we've upgraded our editing skills. Neil's act, though, same story, same playbook, still got the same kind of jokes. Let's roll the tape.
I think it would be kind of cool to be abducted by aliens. Right? I mean, who in here would not want to you all want to meet the aliens, right? If they're out there, of course. We're not anti-alien. We're just anti your account of the alien. That's all. Now, what pisses me off, inept aliens, okay? Here, you ready? So, here are aliens from another planet, another galaxy. They traverse interstellar space in their spacecraft. Trillions of miles.
So dramatic.
And they get to Earth and they crash. And I'm thinking, I don't want to meet these aliens. They can't land on Earth. Forget, bring me somebody who knows how to navigate, okay? And then I'll have a conversation with those aliens. Until then, stay out of my face, okay? I don't like stupid aliens.
He got jokes.
I don't like throwing shade, but like Neil deGrasse Tyson, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's made up his mind. I've read his tweets, and I'm like, dude, you have a PhD in physics? Where's your curiosity? I can't even believe.
Yeah,
You're
same.
the big scientific communicator? Well, I think you should probably retire.
It's just smug.
It's just ridiculous.
It's smug, and it's I know everything, and it's I went to this elite university, so I have the credentials to like tell you what you should think, instead of exploring these kind of really exciting open-ended questions.
Should we count how many times he said that the universe was 13.8 billion years old and just be like, you were wrong every single time?
Credentialism, you know, and it's like, well, I have credentials too, and I'm happy to go toe-to-toe with you. If he wants to debate me, I'd be fine.
Let's do it.
Gary Nolan and I will debate Tyson. Was it, who's that other, Brian Cox? Bring it. Bring it.
Do you think the government needs to be more open and honest with us, like the candidate Chris Christie was promising in the debate?
Do you think the government is that competent that they could actually keep such a secret?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, when did you get that much confidence in the U.S. government?
But I wanted to ask if you had any reaction to the UFO whistleblower.
So I don't, you've never seen me in a debate on anything. Debating is not the path to objective truth. The path to objective truth is data. All he has to do is release it for independent analysis. And in science, an objective truth is established by multiple verifications of a claim. And eyewitness testimony, sworn testimony, is irrelevant to science. We don't care what you saw or what you say you saw. We care a little bit. We'll make a note of it. But in the end, if I want to declare that what you said you saw, what you did see, is objectively true, other people have to verify it.
So it doesn't seem like things have changed now, have they?
Well, on our editing skills side, it has, but on Neil's opinion and the way he mocks the subject, no, it hasn't. There was some really old footage in there. I mean, that first one, the clip when he was on the stage, that was from like a while ago. Yeah. And then the TMZ stuff, that was all recent as of a year ago. So it's like he's maintained the same mockery attitude this whole entire time.
Right.
And I mean, and another thing that I wanted to point out.
I just wish that he wouldn't make jokes about it, you know.
But he does.
Laugh so hard when
consistently.
Somebody says something that seems like, you know.
I thought he was going to pee his pants over that glowing orb thing. That's why I'm like, what is so funny? Like, what? I'm telling you, something must have happened in the room. That psychic person must have done something funny. I don't know. That's my story. That's what my intuition is telling me.
So what? Somebody's claiming that an orb was above him, hovering. You know, it came down. You know, it's not that funny. You know, this is what this person is claiming to have seen.
Right, and this is the 2% of the reports that Arrow cannot reason away. These are the anomalous things that he was talking to him about. The 2%, not the stuff that he's already figured out what it was. It was a this, it was that, it was a weather balloon, it was a Chinese, whatever. Who cares? The point is that he was talking to him about the 2% that can't be explained, and he was sitting there like going, oh. Like he just heard the best joke ever. And it's like, dude, this is serious shit. Like this is reality. This is what's really real. Like we're trying to uncover this stuff. What's crazy?
What are your thoughts on Dr. Kosloski revealing that they have data on these black triangles?
Show me the footage. That's what I want to. That's what I have to say. Show me the money. Where are these photos? Where are these videos? Where are these people that wrote the reports? Show me the firsthand witnesses. Bring them firsthand witnesses to the hearings that we're going to be getting to in September. I'm fast forwarding to the end of the show, but that's okay. And yeah, that's my opinion. Like, can we see what you saw?
So, you know, when he says that they have video of these, of these black triangular diamond-shaped kind of craft, what comes to my mind is I remember seeing a couple of videos. One, there was a black triangle or diamond, if you will, kind of hovering and rotating above Moscow.
And
that video. There's a video of it supposedly, and there's another one, another video pretty similar of it above the Pentagon.
Okay, and
now I don't know. Sorry, I feel like I keep hitting you.
You did like 3 times already, but it's fine.
Sorry. Okay, payback.
Touche. You can have that one because I interrupt you all the time. It's like now.
Okay, so
I'm doing it again.
So we're not saying that these videos are real. You know, the ones that I just talked about. I don't know if you've seen them or not, but maybe we could find them and edit them in here, possibly.
If you find me the links and post it somewhere.
I don't know if those videos are 100% legit, but when he talks about a black triangular object hovering, that's what I think of.
Okay.
And the fact that he's bringing it up makes it seem like it's a real thing.
Literally just about to say, is it my turn yet? And you cut me straight off. All right. Hush, it's my turn. Okay.
Sorry.
2 things that I thought about when you were talking. When we did our recent videos with Chris James, if you haven't seen our interviews with Chris James over on my channel, on my channel called Living Life Consciously with Hello Ali, I combined channel and hello. That's where that shallow came. Anyways, over on my channel, shut up. Over on my channel, this is going to be a blooper reel that I'm not taking out. Over on my channel, we interviewed Chris James twice. And in one of those interviews, we were talking about, I think it was the Pentrick, I'm messing up how to pronounce that word. The Pentrick UFO case where they basically saw like a pyramid that like an orb, and you know, insert Neil deGrasse Tyson laughing here. An orb popped out at the top of this pyramid thing and took off, and some planes and some whatever military stuff chased it while this other pyramid thing was there hovering, and then I think it like just shot straight up and took off or something.
Penturk incident. Kaz, she lives in Penturk, and she was out walking next to the field, next to the housing estate where she lives at. And for 3 days and 3 nights, they had aircraft circling the area. When one aircraft was running low on fuel, another one would come and take its place. That would go and refuel, and then they carried on like that for 3 days. They had the military in the area. They were waiting for someone. And then all of a sudden, this large pyramid object appears out of nowhere with red and green barrel objects that came out the top and was near enough above Kaz and a friend.
Wow.
They military apparently opened fire. There was an Apache helicopter that had to make an emergency landing at Cardiff Airport because it caught fire.
Oh, shit.
It's all been documented. It's one of the biggest cover-up cases in the UK.
I was totally in shock and awe of what I was seeing when red light turned into 3, which was a triangle on the oblique angle coming in point first, which turned out to be a full-sized pyramid.
This pyramid, Clark claims, was an intelligently controlled craft. Standing at the gate that marked the entrance to the field, she and Dave watched it and witnessed something spectacular.
The leading set of 6 lights on the near side edge were brighter than the rest of the ship, like some kind of steering mechanism for the ship. It came in point first, and when it was fully here, it came down in a pendulum motion and lined up behind those trees there. And when it was in the upright position, it fired this green object out at the top like it had been fired out of a cannon, so fast. It skipped across and in front, or just above, these trees on my left-hand side here, and just rocked backwards and forwards gently. I can't tell you what shape it was because it was too bright, brighter than the moonlight, like a really bright green star, about the size of a small car. And I was staring through the bare trees to get a better look, because this pyramid listed to the right-hand side, still turning very slowly anti-clockwise, started to move backwards away from us. And I said to Dave, it's landing. But in actual fact, the field rises there, because you've been out and seen it, and the land was coming up to meet it. And as it neared the ground, it ejected this hand, I described it like a hand of lightning. But it wasn't thin lightning, like we see here. It was thick, like fire, like fingers. And the whole thing lit up really brightly, so you could see the whole outline of it. And such was the size of it, while I was staring at the bottom, you couldn't see the top. That's how big. Now, whilst I was fixated, and don't ask me why I was fixated on it touching the ground, because I don't know to this day, but David said he saw 15 or 20, he described them as orbs, come out the top of it. And I can stand here and tell you that I saw them, but I genuinely didn't, because I was so fixated on it touching the ground. Anyway, I heard, it went from like taillight red to like bright white orange, and the nearest lights to the ground were the brightest.
So like the point is that like these anomalies, it's not only just one case that we're talking about. Like there's multiple times where these types of things have been seen or witnessed or whatever, and it's like they can't all be nothing.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
That was my first thought.
Okay.
Now my second thought, where David Grush was talking about debating Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
That came from a tweet where Jesse Michaels said that he would pay Neil deGrasse Tyson. Well, he would not straight to him, to a charity of Neil deGrasse Tyson's choice. He would pay $50K to a charity of his choice if he came on the show and debated David Grush. Did he take him up on that offer? No. But the point is that Jesse Michaels offered $50K for this to happen on his show. And then recently, Jesse Michaels also offered $50K to interview Sean Kirkpatrick about the Wall Street Journal articles, with the only stipulation being that it couldn't be edited. Nothing can be taken out. Whatever is recorded is recorded, and it's all going out. And then his buddy matched it to put the total up to $100K. So I just find it so awesome that Jesse's got all this money to throw around, offering people $50K, $100K to come on his show and debate other people. There's a pattern here. I've noticed patterns.
Yeah, I mean, it makes the question, why wouldn't he want to take that money up if it's just a simple debate, right?
He said he doesn't debate people, that there's no value in debating people. He wants data. But then when people are presenting data to him, unexplainable data, he wants to make a mockery of it. So go fucking figure.
Yeah.
All right. So do you think that Neil deGrasse Tyson is intentionally undermining UFO research? If so, why? Should serious UFO discussions allow for humor, or does it hurt credibility?
I would say it allows for humor because we, laugh all the time, and there's a way that you can be humorous, and find enjoyment without making a mockery of other people or their experiences.
I have no problem with laughing, if you can't tell by now.
Right.
If you can't tell by now. I mean, laughing is good for your body, honestly. I mean, when you smile, your brain releases happy chemicals. When you're laughing and smiling, you're burning calories. So you're getting happy and you're losing weight. Just laugh more and smile more. That's what I'm saying. And my last question to pose to the audience so that we can close out this story is, what are your thoughts on how Kosloski handled himself during the Star Talk chat? Do you think his handler, Susan Go, was in the room? That was one thing that crossed my mind. I'm like, I wonder if she was standing there with them like laser beam eyes, like telling him how to part his hair, and like what tie to wear and what size underwear he should be putting on.
See, you can be humorous, right?
I got jokes all day, kid. I got jokes all day. All right, dudes, let us know in the comment section below.
Right. And last but not least, UAPDA filed and UFO hearings are set for September.
Woohoo!
Big things are happening in Washington. Regarding UFO transparency, Senator Chuck Schumer has just filed the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Disclosure Act of 2025, UAPDA, as a proposed amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act. Which this is all very familiar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you're
I feel like I'm getting deja vu again. But okay.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. This bill would establish a temporary federal agency led by a presidentially appointed and Senate-confirmed review board tasked with gathering and publicly disclosing UFO-related information from across the government, which is exactly the same as it was last year. Ironically. Or not ironically. Anyway, meanwhile, UFO enthusiasts have more to watch for. An official congressional UFO hearing has been confirmed for early September. This was revealed during a recent live stream on the Night Shift YouTube channel by Dan Cleary, who received the tip from filmmaker and investigative journalist Jeremy Corbell. While details are still under wraps, this hearing promises to be a key moment for public disclosure.
Now, let's hear directly from the senators themselves. Here's a clip from the Ask a Poll series featuring Senator Chuck Schumer passionately reintroducing the UAP Disclosure Act, saying, quote, "Gotta let people know the truth, whatever it is," end quote. Then Senator Mike Rounds breaks down where the real challenges lie ahead. Let's check it out, and shout out to Matt Laszlo for this awesome coverage. The man is always, I'm getting 10 emails a day from Ask a Poll, so thank you.
That's how you reintroduced your UAPDA.
Yes, I did. Why? What's the importance of that? Gotta let people know the truth, whatever it is. Do you think it'll be easier to get it included without Mike Turner around?
Let's hope we have better chances.
Yeah. Thank you. Hey, how are you, sir?
Hey, good. How you doing?
Living the dream.
Living the dream, huh?
Have you heard of Project Preserve Destiny?
No. What's that?
It's supposed to be dealing with NHI. Well, this one publication, like L'Espresso, claims that Trump got a briefing on the program.
What program?
It's called, like, Project Preserve Destiny, but it's NSA, NHI program. Non-human intelligence. Have you guys had talks with the White House on that language in UAPDA? Why not?
Well, never heard of it before.
Well, no, your language in UAPDA.
Oh, no reason to.
Because it hasn't moved here.
I think I'll just go ahead and vote, and then I'll come back out and go back down, because I've got a meeting that I better be at.
Are you guys going to offer that in the NDAA?
Yeah, well, at least I want to anyway, yeah.
Because Congressman Burleson says he's in talks with your office about it. You guys still haven't found the best way to move that?
No, I think to just try it again the same way we did and see what happens. I mean, it came out of the Senate fine. It's in the House is where the challenge is.
Interesting, because some people are thinking it was McConnell that's been killing it. But it's in the House.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe it was Turner, and now that Turner's gone?
I don't know. I think there were folks that just didn't want to disclose anything that could be of a sensitive nature, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I'd hope that we had arranged not to have anything that was sensitive be released. And I thought this was a path forward, but I think it caught them by surprise last time around.
Yeah.
So I think we got a better shot this time.
Is Schumer involved at all?
Same as before.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
All right, so obviously they're not holding back. Congress is clearly taking UFOs seriously, and I bet you that Danny Sheehan is happy as a pig in poo about the fact that this thing was filed again, because he was pushing hard for this whole UAPDA to go through. So, Yay!
You know, I think one of the biggest hurdles from last year was Mike Turner, who is no longer there.
Winning.
Right. So, I mean, that's a plus all on its own. You know, I really hope that they're going to be able to pass it. You know, I mean, I really do. I really feel like this would definitely move the ball forward, move the needle forward, right?
Well, hopefully everything goes through and it doesn't get picked apart and blown to pieces like it did last year, because last year it was just not good. Like, I just remember everybody feeling like a deflated balloon. That's like the best way for me to describe it. Everybody was just like,
I mean, okay, so we do have the quote unquote disclosure president right now, you know, Donald Trump.
Do we though?
Well,
do we though?
There's people around him who are absolutely fascinated and interested in this topic.
What does that have to do with what he's
JD
going to
Vance,
say?
our vice president, says that he recently said that he is obsessed with UFOs. Right?
I did see that.
Right. His son, Don Jr., I'm pretty sure it's Don Jr., has a podcast where he's talked to, you know, a lot of people that are in disclosure, including Lou Elizondo.
Okay.
You know, I mean, so I feel like there's people in his ear, you know, John Ratcliffe, you know, who's the director of what is he? Director of the CIA now.
Okay.
There's people in place that are pro finding out what is going on. Now, whether or not that's pro disclosure is another question. Just the fact that they are interested in this topic, I think, will end up moving the ball forward. And it gives us that much more of a chance that this legislation gets passed.
Okay. I love it for you that you're optimistic in this situation.
I'm trying to be optimistic. I really do.
Love that for you. I really do. I just don't share those sentiments. Okay, I'll just start with the whole drone situation. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember President Trump being like, okay, look, first day I'm in office, I'm going to tell you guys exactly what's going on with the drones. Then he gets into office.
And
let me tell the story. We don't hear nothing, right? For like a whole week.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden we hear from Susie was the one who he told to go find out what was going on. I can't remember the lady who actually like made the presentation or made the statement where they were like press secretary, but I can't think of her name right now. I could see her standing up at the podium with blonde hair. Anyways, she said, well, the statement from President Trump was that all of the drones were FAA approved and they were all doing some kind of research. And basically they just gave us like this statement that nobody believed. And it honestly ended up pissing off even more of the people that were involved in this, because they're like, well, what do you mean? You can't dismiss something that has been going on in my state for like months now and is still ongoing. And even now, all these months in that he's been president, it's still happening in certain places. So he really let me down. He really let me down with the whole drone thing. And then the fact that they're trying to bury this Epstein list because Trump is probably on it. I just find that, like, you know, truth and transparency is not what we're getting. I'm probably going to get hate for that, and I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
Yeah,
said what I said.
That's all right.
Even though I covered my mouth. I'm glad you're optimistic about that he could be the disclosure president. From what I've seen so far, where is it?
Yeah, you know, I mean, there's a lot of people saying that that he's going to try to pivot to UFOs
to distract from the Epstein thing. Yeah, I saw that too. And, you know, maybe he will. I don't know.
Which, I mean, if he does, you know, that would benefit, you know, anybody that wants some kind of disclosure.
Yes.
Yes. Even if the reasons for it are completely, you know, effed up, which they are.
See, I can't get too far into this, because if I start talking about the whole situation, we're going to derail quickly. So I'm going to try to stay focused for you guys. If I go down that route, we'll be here for a minute. I have lots of things to say, so I'm just going to.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on so I don't say something that'll get me demonetized or whatever. Okay. All right, so while the UAP Disclosure Act is shaping up to be a major step towards transparency, the real spotlight is about to hit with the upcoming congressional UFO hearings scheduled for early September. We were supposed to get them already, then they got delayed, then we were hearing rumors. Well, now it seems like we're actually getting a pin down for sure about when it's supposed to happen. These hearings could provide firsthand insights and answers that we've all been waiting for. So let's take a closer look at what's expected.
Next up, we've got two hot takes on the upcoming UFO hearings. First, from the Ask a Poll series, Representative Eric Burleson confidently predicts a good public UAP hearing this September. Then, switching gears to the night shift live stream, Dan Cleary spills some serious tea, revealing how filmmaker Jeremy Corbell confirmed the hearing date in a text. Let's check that out now.
What's briefings this week? Any what? Any one of the skiff briefings this week? You couldn't get any of them lined up pre-August?
No, we didn't have anything lined up.
Yeah. Is that disappointing? Like, do you think in September we're going to see action, or?
I do. I think that we're working towards having a good public hearing in September.
Yeah. Any idea who the witnesses might be?
I'm not going to list the names yet.
Yeah.
Speaking of statements, what did you text Corbell, Dan?
I did, and he responded.
Oh, wow.
He responded. So I asked him, can you share the document from the 70s about the craft heading towards Earth? I'd love to see it. And he said, I wish. I was exposed to it, but I did not obtain it. A couple more things. And then he gave me the date for the hearing, but I can't share it. But it is in early September, confirmed.
Oh, my God.
All right. So the hearing is on. Yeah, the hearing is on.
The hearing is on.
The hearing
Breaking
is
news.
on.
Hey. Breaking news.
So
I love Pavel's reaction. He's like, it's breaking news, breaking news. All right, so September.
Yeah.
We don't have a date. I'm hoping that the date will be announced. And my biggest thought is, who are they going to have up there? Who are we going to be hearing from?
You know, according to Luna, I mean, she says that she wants firsthand witnesses.
And that's what we need.
With actual data.
That's what we need.
With actual material data.
Right.
Is what she said she wanted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we get that. You know, I mean, I'm very curious to see who's going to be coming forward.
Yeah. I also feel the need to give a shout out to Pavel from Psychoactivo Podcast. And I also feel a need to give another shout out to the night shift crew. Because obviously, that's who we just got our information from. But also we have a lot of friends that are over there. So what's up, Chris Hover? What's up, Ebony McKickass? What's up, Zoltan? What's up, Mod Crew over there? Much love to you guys. Thank you for everything that you do. Us mods got to stick together.
Right.
All right, so that was some serious insight straight from the source. The stage is set for a game-changing hearing this September. Now it's up to us to stay informed and to keep the pressure on. And if they keep trying to change the dates, I mean, we can't do nothing about it, but at least we'll keep you up to date with whatever happens from this.
Exactly.
But I also know some people that, well, maybe not people like plural, but like specifically one person who goes to every single hearing. So I know that I can call up Hides and be like, yo, what did they do this time?
Yeah,
and I can get some inside info. So thank you to that person. All right. So are you optimistic or skeptical about government UFO disclosure? Do you think the UAPDA will lead to real UFO transparency? And who would you most like to see take the stand in the September hearings? Who do you want to see up there? We didn't even talk about that.
Want to see?
Yeah.
It'd be cool if Bob Lazar went and testified.
Bob Lazar.
You know, he is supposedly
a first-hand
witness.
Who worked on this stuff, touched the materials, been inside the craft.
Right.
Bob Lazar. I'm going to I'm going to second that. I second that notion.
You know, because, I mean, for him to get in front of Congress and say these things under oath, that is going to have so much more weight behind his entire story.
Okay.
You know, I mean, not that I need that weight, you know, to think that he's truthful, because I personally, I do think he's truthful in his story. But that would provide so much more weight to his story for other people. Yeah. You know, because if you lie in front of Congress, I mean, that's like a felony, right?
Yep. And I also find it cool that you bring that up because we showed the clip from the 2B special before the TMZ UFO revolution. And I think it was in the end of the 3rd episode.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Corbell talked to him.
There's all these clips that live rent free in my head that I could just scroll through the Rolodex and pull them out. Oh, shit, I just dated myself with Rolodex. Damn. Anyways, let's pretend like I didn't say that. Jeremy Corbell asked Bob, like, would you testify again? And Bob was like, hell no, man. I've already said all this stuff. Nobody wants to hear it. Like, I've already been down this road, got all kind of things happen to me and my property and whatever because of it. Hell no, I'm done. Then a few scenes later, he asks him again. He's like, well, maybe. So I'm going to live on that maybe. I'm going to hang on that maybe with everything I got. I'm going to hang on it because that would be cool. That would definitely be cool.
It would be cool.
Yeah. All right. So who would you like to see? Make sure to go to the Lato Files Discord server and share your thoughts with the community there. An invite link can be found in the video description box below, along with all of the other sources that are in this show in the order that they appear. So make sure to check that out.
And that concludes this week's UAP Society's UAP UFO News Show. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. And while you're here, do us a favor and smash that like button, click subscribe, ring that notification bell, leave us a lovely comment down below, and share this video with your family and friends to help us spread the good word.
Let's raise the collective consciousness together in unity.
Much love,
peace, and namaste.
Spaceship.